101 days until the L Word Generation Q Season 3 comes back onto our screens on Friday, November 18th, 2022. That is not far away, and the cast and crew are working their way through those scenes and those episodes that we're going to be sitting down and enjoying soon. So yesterday, when they announced the show is coming back on the 18th and they announced a plethora of guest stars, they also gave us a little Easter egg, some clues, some mysteries, and everybody has been racking their brains trying to find out what all of this means.
The analytical part of me wants to examine it. But I know it has no content.
I did race through all of my meetings and things today so I could try and focus, and I think I've deciphered most of it. There's still a few pieces that are mysteries. Hi guys, editing Ash here. Sorry, I just wanted to quickly jump in to say I'm gonna go through the document like piece by piece. And just to also say, I did go back and look at, if you remember last year, we got the orange picture they used for absolutely everything. And we had those bits by each character, like Bet said, I came full circle, and you know, the whole being on a porch thing, Tina, porches tie back to the original. So there were ones that worked, ones that were like quite literally like Sophie's, like who to choose. So I will talk about that too. When it comes to the actual document, I did start up by the pink writing, the one on the left with the woman who was a drawing. And there's not much to say about that because the top row of the writing just looks like it is the alphabet, maybe with a few muddled up letters. The second part, I don't know what it says. So if anybody has any good thoughts about it, let me know. I have like put it through like a bunch of apps and it can't decipher it either. The next part is the writing that just says, I wanna watch you fuck my ex circled or XRX ×2. I wanna F you on my live stream. I'm famous, me too, semi-influencer. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that and what it might mean. So I guess back to past Ash, but now technically she's future Ash because she's in a future part of the video than me, so I think I'll probably end up disappearing. Thanks. So I did a couple of weeks ago, maybe months ago now, talk about a storyline that I was thinking of, that it would be cool if Alice, when she's on her book tour, has an influencer cover for her, and then when she comes back, the influencer is like super popular and they either have to like trade off days, like, you know, one host Monday, one host Tuesday, or they try and get them to host together to try and like bring in both, you know, audiences. So if Showtime's gonna use that, I'm gonna need some money, and I'm also gonna need interviews with the cast, bloopers, and deleted scenes. So those are my demands, and if my storyline's in there, you know, I'll get my lawyer on it. So I know that Kaylani is going to be playing someone that's like in Alice's like hair and makeup glam team. So this probably isn't going to be Kaylani, but they did say Margaret Cho's playing herself. Maybe they have someone else playing themselves as an influencer. Obviously, that would be the dream of dreams, but you know, who it could be a lot of other people, I guess. So next up seems to be a timeline, and we have BNT Cold Open. Now, I'm sure most people know what a cold open is, but in case you do not, a cold open is the beginning of the episode. It usually, hence the word cold open, is separate from the rest of the episode. So a show that did this really well was The Office. They would always have a funny cold open, a lot of the time like Jim and Dwight having a prank or something happening that was completely separate from the rest of the episode. You didn't need to watch the cold open to get the episode, and you didn't get the episode more because you watched the cold open. So BNT, that leads me to believe that we're in the time frame where we left season 2. They also have like a little star and a loop over it, so I don't know whether this means the cold open is taking place in the same time the season 2 finale took place, and then they're coming back. And it says event starts, so the event seems to be what was going on when I did that video with the pictures of like Bet, Tina, Alice, and Shane. And then we have that picture of Tess, Shane, Alice in the back of the car, and Marja's in the picture, so that could be something too. The next we have the ... that usually signifies like the halfway point. And then it says F+S on curb. I'm going to think Finley and Sophie. And then a little bit further on, there's Angie smash to end credit. So as is very typical, it seems the episode is broken up into 4 parts. Bet and Tina cold open, event starts, Finley and Sophie on the curve, and the end. So that's pretty, episodes usually get broken up into like 10 or 15 minute chunks. So moving on to the very bottom, which I think is probably the most interesting bit of this, apart from the Bet and Tina cold open, is someone gets married, ? And then it has a wedding or an engagement ring, and it says Pictionary. So we're going to see a Pictionary proposal, and who is going to get married? I mean, of course, I would love to see Danny and Gigi. I don't think Bet and Tina is possible because they've gone back and forth so many times, but also because Laura Holloman isn't a series regular, and if someone's getting married, like, that's a lot of scenes, that's a lot of prep and costuming and everything and being there, and I think it's just too much for a guest star. And usually shows like this, they're not going to show the wedding because they only have 10 episodes. It's not like Grey's Anatomy where you can devote 2 episodes to Callie and Arizona getting married because you have 24 episodes. So I think it'll probably be like last season where we just saw, a couple of scenes at the end that was Danny and Sophie's wedding that didn't happen, obviously. So leave your bets down in the comment section. It date stamps it and everything. So put down there who you think is going to be married in this season. And if you manage to guess it, as long as you're subscribed, I will do a giveaway for something from my store. But it has to be the date from now. You can't go and do it when we find out. So going back to the top on the right hand side now, it says from power to peace, and then wants peace, needs to let go, lacks humility, which is crossed out, responsibility, which is crossed out, and then vulnerability, which is not crossed out. And then it says last year, ? later, ? queerer, ? Q titles, ? circled. I think the Q titles means that we are no longer going to get L titles. The original L Word and the first 2 seasons of Generation Q all have had their episodes beginning with the title L. I think this means that Q is going to come in and take that title name, because what else could this possibly mean? And Q it's a hard one. I mean, there's not that many titles that begin with Q or words that begin with Q. I guess there can be a lot of Queen Bet, Queen Alice. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's a good idea. It kind of like marks Gen Q as its own and standing on its own 2 feet, so to speak. So I'm putting that out as a definite one to keep your eyes out for, because that one I'm probably the most confident about in all of this. So then under the post-it note, we have Carrie, Ivy, Pippa, Sky. Obviously, we know who Carrie and Pippa are, and that both Rosie O'Donnell and Vanessa Estelle Williams will be back in season 3. We don't know how many episodes either of them are in, but I'm sure we'll find out that soon. Sky could be the last name of someone, or someone we just haven't been introduced to yet, because the other characters are going to be Margaret Cho's like playing a version of herself, and then there's Taylor and Patty, so we're not too sure on those ones yet, but they could have a last name Sky, or as I said, it could be someone else. It could be another big guest star they're saving for the end. Now at the very bottom there's this like green handwriting, and it seems to be the same handwriting that wrote the bit with like B&T Cold Open and event starts, etc. So I mashed up as much as I could, and it makes no sense whatsoever. I sit the nom bubble for this show, or are we blank music bubble of sit the ugly bubble for this show? So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it definitely says R, and then I think this could be we music bubble I something sit, or sit the, and then it looks like ugly bubble for this show. Does anyone have any idea what that means? What an absolute mess. So when comparing this to what they did last year, when they had, you know, the orange thing they used for everything because they only took one picture, they had the characters right on them, like I mentioned before, Bet, Gigi. There were a few of them, like Micah's, that didn't really make that much sense. Finley's didn't really either. It was let's go baby. And then you had some people like Sophie, who theirs was who to choose, that was resolved in pretty much the first 2 episodes, but like other people's, like Danny's, which was Big Feelings Big Trouble, which was fitting for her. So there is so much to even just talk about from these little silly things. I obviously don't think they're going to put any huge bits of info and storylines in this carefully curated and released publicity for the show. But the one thing I will say is I am so glad to see this, because it's something. It's showing me that they actually care about the show, Showtime I mean, because, you know, last season they did nothing. We had one teaser, one trailer, and the same goddamn orange picture for everything that I had to beg at the end of the season for the HD images of these 2 pictures, and I literally begged, and I got them after the season was over. And then of course I put them up because I wanted everyone to enjoy them, because all we had was the, you know, like really bad quality one. So I'm hoping this year that not only do we get more than one picture, that we get a little bit of promotion, that we get a few trailers, that we get people interviewing the cast, crew, writers, whomever, that actually watch the show and want to be interviewing these people. So I'm going off on a rant anyway. You guys know I absolutely love the show. I cannot wait till it's back. Put your prediction for who's getting married down below. And for 2 chances to win autographed Laurel Holloman catalog and studies, make sure that you are subscribed and leaving a comment as well. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!